We made it, you guys. The Oscars are Sunday. We are in the home stretch, so it's time for my final predictions. I'm going to do my very best to not crash out and just give you these predictions. It's been a long ride to get here, and it's almost done. The season's basically come down to one battle after another versus Sinners. Both are very competitive pictures in this race. As you'll see as we go through, I think both are going to assemble quite a competitive overall package, overall award haul. I don't think either one is going to run away with like 10 wins. I think they're both going to have very competitive packages, but we'll get more into that as we go on. But let's start with the short film categories, easily some of the hardest stuff to predict. Starting off with Best Documentary Short Film, we've got All the Empty Rooms, Armed with Only a Camera, Children No More, Were and Are Gone, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly Estrangedness. I'm going with All the Empty Rooms. My runner-up is Armed Only with a Camera. For the short ones, I don't have a lot to say. Again, there's not a lot of like precedent. There's not a lot of precursor knowledge. A lot of these you kind of gotta go off of vibes. For Best Live Action Short, we've got Butcher Stain, A Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva. I am going with Two People Exchanging Saliva, but my runner-up is A Friend of Dorothy. I think A Friend of Dorothy could kind of be like the upset there. Sometimes with this category, they really like to gravitate towards like something overtly saccharine and sweet and schmaltzy, but also they do, as we saw last year, gravitate towards some of these more artsy, cerebral things, and I think that's what Two People Exchanging Saliva kind of is in this bunch, so that's where I'm going. For Best Animated Short, we've got Butterfly, Forever Green, The Girl Who Cried Pearls, Retirement Plan, and The Three Sisters. I have Butterfly winning with Forever Green as my runner-up. I loved both of these, actually. I think Butterfly has a little more weight to it. I love like the oil painting vibe. I think it's shedding light on this like important overlooked person in history. Yeah. But I do think Forever Green, kind of similarly to A Friend of Dorothy, could like be the upset here. It is like a sweet, moving animated film about a little bear. I really loved this one too, but who knows? I watch all of the shorts every year, and every year they do me so dirty in my final ballot. Next up, we've got our first new category in a long time, Best Casting. The nominees are Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. I'm going with Sinners to win this, and I actually have The Secret Agent as my runner-up. We don't have a lot of like precursor information for this. We don't know like really what is predictive of a best casting win, but Sinners to me kind of feels like the most in line with kind of what they're looking for in here, specifically after that SAG Ensemble win. I think it's such a big ensemble. It's got a little bit of everything. We have like a discovery casting, we have a veteran casting, we have like your leading man, and it's filled out with this spectacular ensemble. So that's kind of my way of thinking. I am leaning Secret Agent as my runner-up because they have a lot of like real people being cast here. It really captures like the diaspora of Brazil and its people. But yeah, this is a new category, so we don't really know how it's going to work, like what they swing toward, what have you, but it's exciting. Next up, I've got Best Makeup and Hairstyling. The nominees are Frankenstein, Kokuo, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. I think this is Frankenstein's by a mile. If I had to pick a runner-up, I'd go Sinners, but Frankenstein's taking this. For Best Production Design, the nominees are Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I'm also going with Frankenstein again. You're going to see a pattern here for some of these craft categories. My runner-up, I'm going to go with Hamnet. I think they will really gravitate towards that like historical recreation, specifically of the Globe Theater, but Frankenstein's been sweeping this, makeup, and another category all season long. I will be shocked if it doesn't take all three. And then for Best Costume Design, we have Avatar Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. This is going Frankenstein. I'm very confident about that. My runner-up would be Sinners. Ruthie Carter has 2 Oscars under her belt. She's becoming a big name in this category. I think she's already such a legend in the costuming world. And if Sinners is going to do very well, it could easily be a contender. But like I said, Frankenstein's been sweeping these 3 categories all season long, so I don't have any reason to doubt it. For Best Sound Design, we have F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Surratt. If they were cool, they would give it to Surratt, but I think it's gonna go F1. My runner-up is Sinners. For sound, I feel like they gravitate towards like action movies with like a lot of gunfire or vroom vroom, fast cars, that kind of thing. And F1, people love it. I think this is gonna be a chance for people to reward it, and it's got a lot of that vroom vroom sound design sign that they love. The reason I have Sinners as my runner-up is because of the musical aspect. I think like they're working with like a lot of sound, a lot of performance on top of like these more horror influenced sounds. I think that's a cool soundscape. For best original song, we have Dear Me from Diane Warren, Relentless, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verity, and Train Dreams from Train Dreams. It's Golden. I think this is also a pretty easy one to predict. Runner up is I Lied to You from Sinners, though. And that brings us, speaking of music, to score. The nominees are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. This is easily Sinners. It's been sweeping all season. Ludwig Göransson is going to get his third Oscar here. He's such a legend in the making. It's a terrific score. If I had to pick a runner-up, it's One Battle After Another, but I feel really good about Sinners. You might think I'm moving along really, really fast, but that is going to end here. Best documentary. This might be the trickiest this category has ever been. A different film has picked up every like precursor leading up to this. A lot of them aren't even nominated here. It's very, very tricky. But the nominees here are The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. I'm leaning toward The Perfect Neighbor. That one feels like the soft front runner to me. I think it's shown up probably the most consistently, but my runner up is Mr. Nobody Against Putin. I don't feel good about this category, but this is kind of just where I've had to make peace with, you know? Especially because some of these other categories are making me insane, like this next one. For Best International Feature, the nominees are It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Surat, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. The Secret Agent kind of became the little darling of this category early in the season. It won almost everything except BAFTA, which went to Sentimental Value. A lot of people are now predicting Sentimental Value to win. BAFTA is pretty consistent, plus or minus a couple years, including last year, with predicting this category. I do think BAFTA has a bias toward more European-leaning films, specifically in international feature, so I wasn't surprised Secret Agent didn't get it. Sentimental Value also has a bigger nomination haul. It has 9 nominations as opposed to The Secret Agent's 4. I would argue, though, that The Secret Agent overperformed from its projections at the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody thought it would get maybe beyond international film, maybe actor, and here it is. So it's going to be one of these two, but I'm going to go with The Secret Agent. I've been championing it all year. I think there's a lot of passion for it still. I think it's got like a lot of the political undertones that they gravitate toward. We saw it last year. BAFTA isn't automatically the precursor to predict it, although that was a special circumstance because it was Amelia Perez that won BAFTA. But I'm going with The Secret Agent. I think it has the passion. I think it's got the momentum still. And I think Sentimental Value, I love Sentimental Value. It was also in my top 10 with The Secret Agent. I love it so much, and it did really well here, but it's never like managed to crest into like winning territory. It's kind of gotten its ceiling with nominations and then kind of coasted. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going Secret Agent, Sentimental Value as my runner-up. We will get more into this with a category later, but I will say if Secret Agent does not win, there's a later category that with an option that we can definitely rule out then. For Best Animated Feature, the nominees are Arco, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. K-Pop Demon Hunters swept everything it really needed to. It wasn't eligible for BAFTA, but it cleaned up. Zootopia 2 is my runner-up, but I feel good about that. For Best Visual Effects, the nominees are Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. Avatar, Fire and Ash, pretty handily going to take it. My runner-up would probably be Sinners or F1, pretty close behind, but feel good it's Avatar. And then we've got film editing. A lot of people say this one is very indicative of like Best Picture. We saw it with Anora last year most recently, so this is a big one. The nominees are F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. I have One Battle After Another taking it, with Sinners as my runner-up. One Battle's been picking up the precursors necessary for this one. I think it's going that way. For cinematography, the nominees are Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I think this is a 3-horse race. Right now, I have One Battle After Another. It's picked up the most precursors for cinematography. My runner-up, I'm actually gonna have Train Dreams there. It has picked up like the second most. Sinners could still turn it around with an ASC win, but I don't know that just that would be enough to push it to Oscar victory. It's not a no, but I do think like both One Battle and Train Dreams have a little more momentum under their belt. I'm bummed because I want Autumn Durald Arkapaw to win. She would be the first woman of color to win this category. It would be amazing, but I do fear it's going One Battle's way. But I would not count out Train Dreams and I wouldn't count out Sinners. I think this is one of our first categories where something like really kind of unexpected could happen. For Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. One Battle literally just won the WGA. I think it's locked. It's been doing very well in this category all season long. Runner-up, Hamnet. And then Best Original Screenplay, we've got Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Likewise, Sinners just won the WGA today. So I think that's locked up too. It won BAFTA. It won everything it needed to, besides the Golden Globe because it was combined and that went to One Battle. But I think you'd be safe to assume PTA and Ryan Coogler are each walking away with at least one Oscar on Sunday. Now going into the nitty gritty, the really challenging ones, the acting categories. I was wishing for an easy Best Actress race this season, and instead the Academy gave me 3 chaotic races in exchange. So, Best Actor in a Supporting Role nominees are Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo, Sinners, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value. After taking home SAG and BAFTA, I'm going with Sean Penn. If you know me, you know, like, this isn't how I necessarily wanted it to go, but I do think it's going to be him. Delroy Lindo is my number 2. There is always that what if. He's never been nominated in any of the other precursors this season. No one's gone up against him. We don't know. And if Sinners is as strong as some people are suggesting, there's no reason why he couldn't surprise. This hasn't happened, by the way, in like almost, I want to say over 25 years. With Marcia Gay Harden, she wasn't nominated for any precursors and then won the Oscar. So who knows? And again, this is the season for chaos to ensue. I think they're really doing it right. Like, he gave that SAG speech. They're putting him out in front of people where it matters. The SAG Best Ensemble speech happening right when Oscar voting was like in the home stretch. Really good for him, I can't lie. Like, who knows? Who knows? I just think like the strength of Sean Penn taking SAG and BAFTA is a lot to ignore, especially being attached to One Battle After Another, the major Best Picture frontrunner. With the way I'm building this package in mind, not to spoil anything later down the line, I do need at least like one acting win from One Battle, so this is it. And I think it's the strongest. This is one of those categories, though, where depending on how it goes, this and supporting actress, they usually happen at the beginning of the night. Depending on how these go and how these shake up, it could be a big temperature check. Like, if they both go to a One Battle performer, I think you can easily assume. If they go another way, if they go both Sinners, I think we're in for like a surprising night. It could split, and like that'll be the theme of the night. We don't know, but depending on how those shake out, it's gonna kind of gauge the temp. So let's just get into Best Actress in a Supporting Role. The nominees are Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value, Inga Ipsdottir, Lilius, Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan, Weapons, Wumi Masaku, Sinners, and Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another. The supporting actress race is going to give me an aneurysm, to be honest. It's so stressful. It's a 3-horse race, I think, for anyone who's not in Sentimental Value. Unfortunately, I think those 2 ladies are not really in contention as much as I love their performances, but I really think this is coming down to Amy, Wumi, and Tiana. Tiana I have in 3rd. I think One Battle After Another is strong, and that could propel her, but she only won the Golden Globe, and that doesn't have overlap with like the voting body at the Oscars. My thing too is like SAG and BAFTA both loved Sean Penn. They loved One Battle. Why not also give it to Tiana? And one could similarly argue that for Wumi at SAG. They loved Sinners, but they didn't love it enough to also award her. However, she won BAFTA. A lot of people are like, oh, it's home court advantage. She's British, but like, I don't know how much that plays into it for her, you know? And then we've got Amy Madigan for Weapons. She took home SAG. She has Critics' Choice. She has the most precursors by one. Her winning is such a SAG thing to do, though. They do love to like reward like veterans who have been like in this industry who are long overdue, and I do think she's overdue for recognition. I love her. I think my hang up with Amy Madigan, a lot of people are predicting her as the front runner. My hang up with it is that she didn't show up in the BAFTA nominees. It's not that she lost, she wasn't even nominated in a pool of 6, mind you. It wasn't even just like 5 and she didn't make the cut and was bumped for like a British film that they typically do. She didn't even get like the 6th slot. So that concerns me a little bit. Like the international support isn't as strong as it is in like SAG. I also feel like she is the lone nominee for weapons. It's not impossible. It's not a no, especially in supporting. But that's also like my hang up. She doesn't have like a big front runner, and Wummy and Tiana are coming from the 2 front runners, you know? You could sit me down and take me by the hand and like justify any of these 3 and I would be like, I understand and I support you and that makes sense. I wouldn't be like, huh? I am going with Wummy Masaku. I think the BAFTA win is strong for her. The Sinners attachment is real. My runner up is Amy Madigan. I keep doing this where I'm like, I don't know if it's Amy Madigan, and then it goes to her. Again, though, like my thing is SAG made sense for her to take that. And I think she gave a great speech right as voting was about to wrap up. People love her, but I'm really hung up on the no BAFTA nomination. If she was nominated at BAFTA, I would probably predict her, but it's holding me back. And like clearly the Academy didn't love weapons. They loved her. And I'm also having flashbacks to Demi Moore and Mikey Madison. I know Best Actress is different than supporting actress, but like that is also kind of echoing. So yeah. Man. I'm filming this now and I'm probably going to go back and forth 100 times. I'm filming this on Sunday the 8th. It's going to go live on Wednesday. And I'm probably going to flip flop 100 times, but for the sake of my sanity, I am going to just lock in with Wummy. This is another one, like, I think any way you spin it, a precedent is going to be broken. It's going to be unexpected. It's going to be major. It's going to be very interesting depending on who they call. For Best Actor in a Leading Role, we've got Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. This category, mighty interesting after SAG. Mighty interesting. This is the most competitive and interesting Best Actor race we've had in a minute. So Timothy Chalamet did not win BAFTA, nor did he win SAG, and that's a red flag to me. Both of these voting bodies that have overlap with the Academy did not give him anything. So I'm a little concerned. I don't think he's winning. It's not because of the ballet and opera discourse, which we are not getting into. That happened after voting closed, but I think his campaign like really wavered. Also, Marty Supreme isn't predicted to be a frontrunner in any other category. So like he doesn't even have that boosting him. A lot of people are like, well, we have to think of who the number 2 was for BAFTA because Robert Aramayo is not present here. And I don't think he was 2. Again, they hated Marty Supreme at the BAFTAs. I don't know that he was the 2. It also doesn't matter. We don't know and we'll never know. I don't see it anymore. Michael B. Jordan won SAG. It's not common for a person to win SAG only and then the Oscar, but this isn't a common season, as I've been saying. I have him right now to win it. He just won SAG. He gave several great speeches during Oscar voting. That matters. That does matter. That room erupted for him. That room was so hype for him. He's also attached to a Best Picture contender. You could make that argument for Leonardo DiCaprio, but he hasn't won a single precursor and really been in the conversation. So there we go, Michael B. Jordan. The other contender is Wagner Moura, The Secret Agent. He won the Globe, wasn't nominated at SAG or BAFTA, and is now here. I would say if The Secret Agent does not win Best International Feature, we can just rule that possibility out. A lot of people keep telling me, well, look what happened with Fernanda Torres. She didn't win. It's kind of the same situation. I don't think it is because this race is much different. Last year, it was just Demi and Mikey pretty much back and forth all season. Like, that was pretty much the duo. This one is so wide open. There's been very little consistency. So, like, he could slip in there. I don't think it's a no. I have him as my runner-up, actually. I think the SAG win was a little stronger for Michael B. But, again, anything could kind of happen. Timmy could win. I have him at 3rd. Who knows? Maybe all this discourse, all this overthinking, and he takes it. But, yeah, Michael B., Wagner. For Best Actress, we have Jessie Buckley, Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson, Song Sung Blue, Renata Reinsva for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone Begonia. Jessie Buckley, congrats on your Oscar. This is a clean sweep, the cleanest sweep of any acting category. For once, Best Actress is easy. Runner up is Rose Byrne, but it's Jessie Buckley. I'm so sorry. For Best Director, we have Chloe Zhao in Hamnet, Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler, Sinners. I think this is also a clean sweep. Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. He won DGA. PGA came through for One Battle After Another, which we'll talk about in a second. He won the Globe. He won at BAFTA. Like, all the chips are in his favor. I think it's him. Runner up, Ryan Coogler. And then that brings us to Best Picture. Nominees are Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. It's coming down to Sinners or One Battle After Another. I think on paper, One Battle After Another makes sense, and it's what I'm picking for Best Picture. It won Critics' Choice, the Globe. It won BAFTA. It won all those critics prizes, and it won PGA. PGA is like the big indicator. They have a similar ranked choice ballot as well. A lot of people correlate the two. There is precedent for that not happening. It's very few and far in between. Sinners does also have a competitive package. It has SAG Ensemble, it has ACE, and it has WGA. That is a viable Best Picture package. I think the ensemble win happened at a really great time for it. I think that was a big one. I don't think Sinners is weak, but I just think One Battle is a little bit stronger as a contender. But Sinners, if it is the number two, it is the strongest number two we've maybe ever had. If you've been keeping up, I have 5 wins for One Battle and Sinners before we even get to Picture. In my head, it made sense that both had a competitive package. Editing and like cinematography often correlates with the Best Picture winner. I have One Battle taking editing, cinematography. I have Best Adapted Screenplay, Director, and Best Supporting Actor. Sinners, I have Score, I have Casting, Original Screenplay, and 2 acting wins. Some people might be like, you can't predict Best Picture while giving Sinners 2 acting wins, and I sure can. I sure can. Because the package in my head for One Battle is just as strong, just in a different way. Can Sinners win? I think it could. I really do. I would love it to, actually. I think that would be so fun. And it would personally be great for me. I prefer Sinners to One Battle. I just think One Battle has a little more strength, a little more support in there. But again, we don't know. This is going to be a weird year. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Thank you so much for tuning in all season long. Make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do on a YouTube video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me everywhere. And I'll see you on the other side as we wrap up award season and then wait for the next one. Bye.